So it looks like we've got a leak. There was a lot of swearing. What an adventure that was. You won't believe the drama this one hose has caused me. But these are the moments that make building Australia's cheapest 135i N54 worth it. Plus, we've come so far and learned so much along the way. Looking back at where we started with an almost stock car, I'm proud of what we've achieved. We've restored Australia's cheapest BMW 135i into a fun daily driver. But we're not done yet. It's hard to imagine that one hose has brought me here. So what actually happened? It all started with this devil hose, and specifically this little nipple here. For comparison, this is what a new hose looks like. This has snapped off inside of another hose and led to a compound domino of issues. We've had some serious facepalm moments. So this devil hose connects to the engine here and to the radiator and a bunch of other coolant hoses. As you can clearly see, there is a big broken chunk on this hose that's not meant to be here. That's actually part of our radiator and why this is now called the devil hose. So the truth about owning an N54 is they are old cars. They're coming up to 15 years now and things are going to break, especially when you haven't done that preventive maintenance their whole life. So let's get everything off and start to tackle this. So with the intercooler now out, we can drain the coolant and start to remove the broken radiator. So there's a couple different ways that you can drain the radiator, but we're going to be using this blue plug under the bottom, which you can access once you remove the intercooler. We're just going to twist that around and release the pressure up top. Now, this next bit should be easy, but could be hard. So this step really depends on the state of your BMW. So there's 1, 2, 3, 4 connectors that connect to the radiator, 4 hoses. So down here, we've got this main one and a smaller connector if you're in the automatic, I believe. I think same with this side, another transmission cooler side, and for me specifically, this part there should be that's where the devil hose connects, but that's already broken off. So fingers crossed nothing else breaks off, because I'm not keen on buying more hoses from BMW. So it's now a couple days later and we've finally got that hose off. I'm officially calling it Devil Hose 2.0 because there was a lot of swearing between then and now. So the tool of choice was this pry bar, and what we had to do was get it through the headlight gap. So if you can see down here, you can just peek the lower intercooler hose there. We basically got the pry bar in like this and then use leverage off the radiator to get that off. That took ages, mostly because I didn't have the pry bar. Now we just need to take the rest of the screws and separators off, pull the bugger out. So this is a bit of a tricky job. My suggestion is to just keep wiggling it back and forward until you get that right angle. It'll eventually come out. Yes, we finally did. Woo! So this little guy has caused all that drama, specifically that connection there. So the weak point of these stock OEM intercoolers is obviously these plastic sides. And the one good thing to come out of this whole exercise is that we're going to be installing that. So I'm going to assume that the stock intercooler is going to actually be lighter. So coming in at 3 kilos, Let's see what the weight gain is in this situation. Yeah, this is pretty light. Yeah. So side by side, you can see the missing section, as well as obviously the aluminium sides, the metal sides. That's the main difference, but it might be hard to see on camera. It is a little bit of a thick boy. It's a bit thicker than the stock OEM radiator, which I'm sure I'm gonna love putting back in. Weight comes in at 4 kg, so slightly heavier. It's a shame that we're not gonna end up seeing that CSF design spray paint logo. Ah well, I know it's there. So I'm not sure what was harder, getting out the old radiator or putting in the new one. The trick is all in the angles. Just remember to be patient. Yes, the radiator is finally back in. Now let's put everything back together so we can add the coolant and check for leaks. So we're finally back to square one basically. So all of the hoses are connected. If you can see down there and down there. We're now back to Devil Hose 1.0, which won't be so devil-like now that we've got a new hose and a new radiator. So now to connect this up and the attaching hoses, and we can start putting back everything in its original place. Okay, so next we need to mix the coolant, and this is what we're going to be working with. So we've got a 10 litre mix drum. We're probably only going to need 8 litres of coolant. We've got BMW specific blue coolant. So yeah, you need about 4 litres of pure coolant. And then I've got 5 litres here of demineralized water, which is important for keeping the system fresh. So we're going to mix these up, about 5 litres of each, into the can, and then start pouring into the system. So for this next section, you would have seen it covered on YouTube many times, bleeding and flushing the coolant system. However, after watching all the videos, there are so many different variations. You open the bleed cap, open the top cap, close the bleed cap, close the top cap, and everything in between. After doing some extensive research into it, almost none of them have been correct, so I'm going to show you the correct process today. So first things first is filling the coolant. This is actually pretty easy. Obviously you have to open up the coolant tank, the overflow tank. The key step in filling this up is opening the bleed screw to allow any excess air that you're creating when you fill it up to come out of this vent. So as I fill this up, we should start to see some coolant bubbles come out of this vent screw. The goal is to keep filling until there's no more bubbles coming out of the vent screw and it's purely coolant. So the recommendation is to have a towel or paper towel nearby to absorb any of that excess. So it looks like we've got a leak, first leak. Let's see where it's coming from. Wow, what an adventure that was. So it was this little guy here that caused the leak. And in my hastiness, I thought maybe I'll tighten the screw. Nope, broke the bolt and had to extract it, which was an absolute pain. I've now done what I should have done. I've replaced the little O-ring. If you can see here, it's quite dark. Make sure you do replace these on both sides as they are single use only. All right, let's go round 2. Hopefully no leak this time. Fingers crossed. So we've hit maximum it started leaking out of here, but you can see it's actually quite full. So these are what the official instructions have said, to fill it up until it starts to leak out of here. So we've done that. We're going to start to bleed the system, and hopefully we haven't overfilled it, but I guess we're going to find out soon. Hopefully with all the air pumping through, this starts to drop down lower. Time will tell. So the important step that everyone seems to get wrong through the bleeding process is closing both the vent and the top screw, as it needs to aerate, and everyone's leaving these open, splashing out their coolant, but that's not the official process. So the trick is to have both of these closed once you've filled it to an appropriate level. The other section is we're going to be using a battery charger, as this does draw in the battery end, and having an older N54 car, we do not want this going dead. Okay, so you would have seen this section covered quite a few times already. This is pretty straightforward. So first step is plug in your keys without foot on the brake, nothing on. Then you need to turn the car on without the foot on the brake, so just press it once. Next step, set heater to maximum. So we want to turn the temperature up to the maximum. So in Australia we're in Celsius, which means 28 degrees, and keep it on only one fan level, so lowest speed. So now next step is to press the accelerator for 10 seconds. So I don't know if you can see down there, however I'm going to press the accelerator for 10 seconds, so 1 wheelbarrow, 2 wheelbarrows. So I've just heard the water pump turn on. That means everything is working as planned. So now leave it like this, and this should take 10 minutes. So let's go check it out from the front. So hopefully you can hear that little electric whirring sort of sound. That means things are working. So we'll leave this for 10 to 12 minutes now. Hell to the yeah. Whoop whoop, seriously stoked. No leaks. It's completed the bleed now and completely successful. I am by no means a mechanic. This is my first time working on a coolant system. I'm seriously proud of that outcome. It's been the journey, but we've got there together. So having looked now at the results, you can see down there has dropped a little bit. Obviously we filled it up almost to the max, but this is good. So now you're just going to top it up with, I don't know, 100 mils or so. My little floaty bit's broken, you can see that, so it should be a little bit higher than that. But yeah, just top it up and then we're good to go. So now I've got the fun job of putting everything back together. We obviously took off quite a few parts to make sure we had perfect access here, so this is going to take a little while. Why am I taking off the cowl, you may ask? Well, when reinstalling the intercooler pipes, I noticed the charge pipe didn't seem tight, so instead of putting everything back together, I dove deeper. While everything was off, I also decided I might as well install my Berger Motorsports panel filters and save a little weight. And yes, I will fix that bolt at a later date. And we are done. Wow, that was such a mission. Look how jam-packed everything is in here. Hardest part was definitely reattaching the big ass intercooler. That's where a lot of these problems has come from, but it's worth the fight. So here's to hoping nothing leaks and any errors we get are clearable. Okay, test drive done, nothing blew up. I'm gonna call that a success. So we couldn't push the car too hard as we've got a couple other issues and misfires that we have to figure out. So make sure you like and subscribe to stay tuned and find out what happens next. For everyone else, catch you in the next one. Peace.